Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to continue this extravaganza. I'm going to introduce the wonderful writer, Richard Milward. What do I know about Richard? Well, he was born in 1984 in Middlesbrough. His first book in 2007, Apples, was astounding, and it kind of took the literary world by storm as a young writer. And he went on to continue accruing much critical acclaim, especially with his second novel, 10-Story Love Songs, that Faber has published. No other than Irvine Welsh considers this young man a major talent. I think I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't know what else to say about this kid except for he's fucking awesome. Please give a big hand for Richard Milward. You know how to adjust this mic, do you not?
Oh, that'll be spot on.
Yeah, it's all right?
Yeah, it's
okay.
all right. Cheese. Spot on.
Hey, my book, Chris.
Good evening. Happy birthday, Rough Trade. Come on. I'm going to read you a story that I've written especially for the journal that's on sale. It's about a man who is struggling in the music industry because he's got a few affectations. It's called Fame Retardant. He wasn't a musical prodigy by any stretch of the imagination. Alistair Strangeman was well into his 30s by the time he'd mastered his first chord. He had hands like rusty monkey wrenches, but still he persevered, clinging to his childhood dream of strumming aloof under hot lights in front of salivating groupies, splurging his first advance on drugs, dying relatively young, and securing quickfire immortality. Naked, Alistair slithered out of bed in his box room, fit for a pigeon, at the top of Trellick Tower. He lit a marble light and squinted into the mirror. His flesh resembled a peeled onion, pale and clammy with a similar odour. In his teens he had the old country or punk adage, all you need to start a band is 3 chords and the truth, tattooed across his chest. He regrets it now. Today he prefers the mantra of Spacemen 3. 3 chords good, 2 chords better, but 1 chord best. Or Lou Reed, 1 chord is fine, 2 chords are pushing it, 3 chords and you're into jazz. Folk jazz-like, Alistair thought as he strapped on his Stratocaster and thrummed that elusive E chord that he'd been hopelessly wrestling with until now. For a virgin, Alistair Strangeman was well versed in fucking. He got through life flicking a mental V sign at anyone or anything he felt stood in his way of success. He'd sent stacks of pleading letters to record companies, hoping for a break sight unseen, and he'd ripped up many stock rejections. Fuck the fat cats like, he thought, surrounded by letter-headed confetti. He'd been heckled off stage at an open mic night recently, intending to perform John Cale's Paris 1919, but he ended up playing John Cage's 433 instead. Fuck the Philistines, he grumbled into his rider, his 1 free can of Red Stripe. Alistair lacked almost every quality of the classic rock star. Good looks, good voice, charisma, tolerance for intoxicants, intimidating self-infatuation or introspective self-loathing, but the aloofness he could master. He was a prominent sociopath around West 10. He could probably disguise his shyness as diffidence, just strum his 1 chord repeatedly and let his distortion boxes and dress sense do the rest. He thought, fuck the stereotypes anyway. But having said that, his walk-in wardrobe was like a fancy dress shop. He had Jim Morrison's leather pantaloons, Roger Daltrey's spaniel-fringed cowboy smock, the Velvet's black turtlenecks, and cockrock lizard skin undies. He dyed his hair a colour that he called heroin brown. fearful of black light blue bulbs highlighting his grey hairs if he ever took to the stage again. His left hand looked like a bent spanner as it clung desperately to his fretboard. Fuck the ageing process, he wheezed. For Alistair, it had to be today. Heavily talcum powdered, Strangeman wriggled into his leathers like a moth crawling back into its chrysalis. Unable to reverse the ageing process or fast-track any songwriting skills, Alistair felt his only option now was to position himself close to other like-minded noisemakers and hope some of their talent or youthfulness rubbed off. It was a shame that forming a band generally involved interacting with other members of the human race, but today he was willing to compromise. I am malleable, he thought, as he scuttled down the 31 stories of steps to Golborne Road, hoping not to bump into any of his apparently dilettante neighbours. He aimed his winkle pickers south, his mind on Talbot Road. Alistair had been afraid of rough trade since moving west. He preferred to get his records and musical knowledge online rather than through any human interaction. After turning off Portobello Road, he lingered nervously outside the shop, eyeballing himself in the poster patchworked window. He smoked another Marlboro Light, but threw it away after 2 puffs. It was making him feel queasy. While other musos saw rough trade as a haven and Aladdin's opium den of alternative music delights, Strangeman saw it as a potentially hostile environment, teeming with folk far more knowledgeable, more human than himself. Not for the first time in his life, he did wonder if his leather-bound look, his black rebel masquerade, came across as an affectation. He questioned his rock star credentials, having just hidden in his 31st story flat with mum for more than 31 years. But he'd be doomed to doing the same for the rest of his life if he didn't go inside, if he didn't just take the plunge and finally meet someone other than his mother. Oh, mummy, he mumbled up to the brutalist sky. Bands he loved lined the walls of rough trade. Bands performed there, bands formed there, and Alistair felt if he could become part of the furniture there, respect would surely follow. He could make mumbly, smoky small talk with other vulnerable noisemakers and hoodwink them into surrendering the best songs to him. Success would come to him, finally, probably, rather than him having to flap at it helplessly in the dark, as if it was the light bulb now attracted to the moth. The door made a throaty croak as he entered. The stereo system was blurting some abrasive guitar and breathy vocal outfit he'd never heard before, but he decided to jiggle in time with the kick drum, just in case. The girls standing by the new releases seemed to be enjoying the racket. They looked up and smirked at Alistair, derision he mistook for desire. Gaining confidence, Alistair thought, fuck the aloofness, and he dramatically minced over to what he considered proper music, sections labelled krautrock, new wave, psych. His plan was to linger here all day, fingering and fondling what he thought to be the finest records in the shop. He might even spout his reviews of these records out loud, a live rendition of the pompous praise and vitriol that he tapped out daily online. However, when he opened Noi 75 to inspect the inlay card, a luxury he'd been deprived of online, his cheeks throbbed with embarrassment as he fumbled and struggled with the CD case, its plastic jaws finally swinging open then snapping shut on his monkey fingers. The girls giggled behind his back. It was like the old plum had never handled a hard copy of a piece of music before. But unperturbed, Alistair put back Noi and found Sonic Youth's Sister. He dreamed of detuned guitars and effervescing fuzz boxes. He looked forward to reviewing it imminently. And yet, once again, fuck this, he thought. The CD case seemed to have a life of its own, snapping at his deformed fingers. Husker Du's Zen Arcade drew blood from his pinky. Brighter later bit a chunk out of his cheek. Then before long, every CD in country and punk was snapping at his hands and face, odd bursts of distortion and banjo parping from each case as it flapped open and then snapped shut, tearing at his flesh. In utero leapt out of the rack and scratched him on the hooter. Sound of confusion snatched the sleeper out of his earlobe. Transformer went for his groin. Do you need any help there? The assistant asked from behind the counter. Oh, mummy, thought Alistair. The CDs kept leaping out of the racks, one after another with plastic snake bites, nipping and nibbling at Strangeman's onion-like flesh, then stealing the leather from his back until finally he could take no more. Holding back the weeps, Alistair covered his face from the assault and scurried back out onto Talbot Road. Naked now, except for his cockrock lizard skin undies, Alistair Strangeman broke down on the corner of Talbot and Portobello. He slithered down the stone steps into the gents' bunker, hid in a hideous cubicle, and he thought, oh, mummy, fuck this. I must be famed retardant. Or maybe you need more than just smoke, mirrors, leather, and an internet connection to conjure up your creative spirit and blast out a true work of art. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Again, happy birthday, Rough Trade. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bosh.
I'm Robert Rubbish of, let's do that again. Hello, I'm Robert Rubbish, you. Hello, I'm Robert Rubbish of the Lagan, Wait, I'll do this again. I'm starting to fluff.